We believe
That's
it takes a
good.
vagina to know a vagina. And a lot of these, companies in like these big box stores, I feel like are like created and ran by men and they just
Yes.
don't understand, I just feel like we're kind of sick of being thrown whatever is thrown at us. We just need
We
something that
are.
works and is safe for us and is beautiful at the same time.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Leap podcast, where we explore stories of business owners who took the leap to turn their passions into successful ventures. Today, we have a special guest. It's Nichole Lancaster. She is the CEO and owner of V-Line Women. She's a natural skincare formulator. She's a licensed esthetician, and she has over 20 years of experience in the beauty industry. Nichole has a wealth of experience and expertise to share with us. From starting a business and managing and formulating cosmetics, she will tell us her journey from start to finish. From starting as a business manager for one of the largest cosmetic companies to pursuing her own aesthetics license, she finally started her own product line. Nichole is a true inspiration. Join us as we delve into her journey, her challenges, and her successes. Sit back and relax and get ready to take notes as we learn from one of the best in the industry on this episode of the Entrepreneurial Leap podcast. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Leap podcast, Nichole Lancaster. I am so happy to have you. Can you please tell the audience just a little bit about what you do? We've already introduced you, but I want them to hear it from you. So, welcome.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So my name's Nicole. I have been in the beauty industry for a little over 20 years. I've done everything from cosmetics to managing spas. And now I formulate, manufacture, and package all of my own intimate skincare. So right now, a couple of my little ventures are I own a spa. I own some suites. And I also, like I said, manufacture intimate skincare for not only consumers, but also like business to business. So professionals who do waxing and intimate facials and those type of services as well.
Your spa, I've had the ability to visit, and it is so beautiful. The aesthetics they're just so calming. I probably didn't want to leave. I was there for a
Yeah.
while. I quite enjoyed my visit, and you are on the other side of town from me, and I will go back. I need to go back and buy more products because I have been using your products and I absolutely love them. They are in my bathroom, but I do have the bag, Feline Women,
So
and
sweet.
I cannot
You're
wait.
muff buff.
Yes, I cannot
Yeah.
wait to use that. I showed my sister your products and she tried to steal them. The pineapple
So
scrub,
funny.
like, this is so amazing. You can't have it.
Yeah.
So walk away. We almost fought over your stuff. So just
Well,
know
it's
that you have people loving your products and they don't even know who you are.
well, thank you so much. It's so funny because it's been so like taboo to talk about like intimate skincare
Yeah.
for so long. One of our slogans is vagina is not a dirty word. Because even with like in the very beginning with doing like Facebook ads or Instagram ads, I was constantly being banned for like sexual
That's
content.
true.
The last thing I'm trying to do is like sexualize our anatomy. I'm just trying to give women skincare. That's all I'm trying to do. And I don't want to have to use some like silly word to do it.
Right. You don't want to
So
censor
yes,
yourself because the
right,
vagina is a human part and you should be able to talk
right,
about our human anatomy, and
right.
it
And that's
shouldn't
the
be
anatomically
taboo.
correct word for
Right.
it, you know?
Exactly.
So I love that women are now talking about it and stealing each other's vagina products. It's amazing.
Absolutely. So, do you have men trying to use your products?
I do. I absolutely do. I have men who like to use it like on their beard. I've had men use it on their face. Yeah, on their neck when they've had like hyperpigmentation. They have used it in their intimate areas. I just want one thing for us. Can we just be like this beautiful feminist brand where like
Yes.
it's for us? Like, sure, men, you can use it, but
You
it's for vaginas and vulvas and however you
Right.
want to. use it, but just give us something.
Right. We do need our own products. And
Right.
often you will see advertisements where couples are stealing one another's products,
Mhm.
but your
Mhm.
products are so good. And I can't imagine a man wanting to take it because they smell so good. And
Yeah.
you develop them in house, right?
Yes. So it kind of started when I had my daughter back in 2016. Anyone who's had a kid kind of knows that things change. Your skin changes.
Mhm.
Sometimes you get hyperpigmentation or like dark spots. So I went online and I was trying to find vagina skincare. And there was literally nothing that didn't have a long list of ingredients that you can't pronounce. And
Yeah.
a fun
You
fact,
don't want that.
right? And your vagina, now, when I say vagina, your vagina is actually like the canal, your vaginal canal. Vulva is all the external parts, but we kind of just use that word vagina freely because a lot of people don't know vulva, vagina. So I kind of interchange it. But
Right.
so that intimate area is one of the most absorbable organs of your body.
Mm.
So you don't necessarily want to put all those chemicals on it because it could disrupt your hormones, your ovaries, your uterus.
Oh,
So I started
wow.
DIY in my kitchen. So I just started finding ingredients that I thought would be soft enough for the skin that would work for me. I started kind of DIY there. And then I was working in a spa and I would hear women who specialize in waxing speaking to their client.
Mm.
Now, a lot of the products that were on the market aren't safe for all skin types.
Oh,
So the darker
wow.
skin
That is
types,
true.
so
Different
is
skin
it
types. I didn't even
right?
realize that. Right.
Right. So a lot of the products were chemical. They were like chemical exfoliants, chemical lighteners, and a lot of women of darker skin colors can either hyperpigment, which means get like darkening skin or dark spots,
Mhm.
or they can hypo. So you're going to get white spots.
Okay.
And that just seemed very unfair,
Right.
especially because my daughter's biracial. I would never want
Mhm.
her to walk into a spa and not have something that's inclusive to her.
That is
Um,
I
Why
love
shouldn't it
that.
be? Why
Right.
shouldn't it be, you know? So
Right.
I'm hearing these women who can't get the same products, who had this potential. I lost my thought. And and I'm seeing this and I'm like, okay, well, I'm in my kitchen creating. Why not see if they can use it as well?
Right.
So I
Right.
started giving samples to my friends and I was like, hey, give these to your clients and let them
Oh,
try it out, record their before and afters and see how it works for them. And women were loving it. So I eventually went to formulation school to learn how to properly formulate so I could start to use different ingredients and make the
wow.
product safe, learn how to properly preserve it. So I'd have this beautiful line that was inclusive to all women. So now all women had a choice of skincare that would make beautiful changes in their skin without any of those risks.
Wow. So how did you get into learning about formulation school? What made you How did you find out about it? What made you sign up? What was the path in that journey that you took down that road?
So this beauty is my industry, and I've always wanted to own my own skincare brands. I actually started back in the day in cosmetics and I worked for Estee Lauder. And Estee Lauder, her story is very like inspirational. She actually started her own skincare line in her uncle's basement and he was a chemist. So he would help her formulate products for skincare. So I've always kind of had that round of wanting to. And actually working for Estee Lauder, I learned a lot about, the business. I learned a lot about sales and customer retention and all that type of thing. So I've really always wanted to own my own skincare line. When I was kind of doing it in my kitchen, I knew that this was something that I really wanted to scale and grow. And so I knew that I had to have space and I knew I had to do it properly. During COVID, I actually spoke to a lot of contract manufacturers, which was what a lot of skincare lines do, right? So contract manufacturing means you pay somebody else to create your products for you. And then they
Okay.
put your label on. So you can talk to different labs and they can create different products for you. They have stock products where they can just put their label on and distribute. And I interviewed maybe 10 different labs
Okay.
and they were either extremely expensive. So I had
Mm,
my own
price
formulations
point.
and they wanted about 20,000 per formulation for them to recreate what I did at mass scale. Or they just didn't fit, like, my values. I remember going into one and this man was sitting across from me, and he just the way he spoke to me just felt so, like,
Mm.
degrading and mansplaining, and I was like,
Oh, I hate mansplaining.
Right. Right. He was like, "Yeah, I mean, I basically created a scrub. Like, I combined these 2," and I'm like, "It's not formulating
No,
a scrub, and you're a
no.
salesman. Like, don't
Right.
talk to me." So I couldn't find anyone that really fit, so I decided to create my own. So I knew that I knew nothing about the industry. I had known nothing about, like, actually creating my own products. So I registered. I found online a natural skincare formulating course, and they take you step by step on branding and opening your lab. And so I
Oh,
decided it's something that
so it's
eventually I
from start
want
to
to scale.
finish.
Exactly.
I love
So
that.
eventually that's something that I really want to scale into large scale so that I can mass produce my own products. Because again, I haven't been able to find somebody who has the same values or uses the same products or ingredients that I want my customers to have access to.
And it's important as a business owner to maintain the integrity of the product and
Right.
even the integrity of the company because when you try to mass produce it, you have to make sure that those people's values are in alignment with yours. And as
Right.
you said, if it's a misalignment, then it's not going to be a really productive relationship. So I love that you did not just settle for less because
Right.
you were presented with the opportunity to mass produce your product. That is beautiful because
Right.
most people will just settle for less. And they'll just say,
Yeah.
"Hey, I just want to get my product out to as many people." But
Right.
they don't realize that they're taking away from the integrity of the company and the product because sometimes it does get watered down. Oftentimes you'll see where you'll have small business owners that have grown and developed and they're now in stores and then you have we'll say a Procter and Gamble will buy them out and it's a
Right.
lot of fear from the consumers that the product will change and it does because
Right.
what grown to love about the product is taken away because they're trying to get it into more hands and
Right.
you have to as an entrepreneur always go back to why you started this business
Right.
because it's going to be that flashlight that you need to guide you along the
Right.
way, which essentially keeps you in alignment to your goals and you'll reap
Right.
a reward.
Right. And a lot of people who do like the cosmetic manufacturing, a lot of them use inexpensive ingredients because it's a higher return on investment, right? So their margins are larger if they use lower quality. For me as an esthetician, and as a professional, I want to give my clients, the best ingredients that I can, the highest
Right.
quality ingredients that I can. I want them to do something. So every one of my ingredients is intentional, which I
Uh-huh.
formulate with intention. Even our
Yeah.
preservative is an elderberry preservative, which
Mhm.
was something that was very important to me as well. Initially, we didn't have any preservatives, and our clients didn't listen. They were going in with wet hands, and now we
Yeah,
do.
I understand. So there's
Yeah.
problems with that as well.
Exactly. So we just want to make sure that we're very intentional. And whenever you start to mass produce and produce in those aspects, um, you start to lose, I feel like, a little bit of the efficacy. Now, not to say that mass production doesn't create results, because we've all used skincare that does. But for me and my brand and my goal of what I'm trying to create, it was just better for me to be able to have control, and as of right now, because we do manufacture by hand in small batches,
Mhm.
obviously, like, our raw materials are going to be a little bit more expensive than what it would if we mass produced
Right.
or went to a contract manufacturing, but I feel like our quality is there. And as we grow, things change, and as we grow, it'll be different. Yeah, I like to keep the quality in there for my clients and for the professionals as well. There's
That's
nothing like a
good.
pro walking into a store and seeing the same products that you sell your clients?
Right. Right.
It's a little disheartening whenever it becomes that big of a brand.
It
So I
is.
like to be able to create opportunities for professionals as well to make money off of our brands and also
Right.
sell directly to our consumers.
That is beautiful because you have the relationship with not just your consumers and your client base,
Right.
but you are putting your product in the hands of other professionals and they can
Right.
extend that out to their own network. And I think that is probably by far the most brilliant thing that you could have ever done because you have one, a pro line, right? Where all of the professionals can use it
Right.
and in their actual salons, and then the smaller versions of the products for consumers. I just love that. And I think
Exactly.
so many more people need to have your products in hand. I can't speak enough about how amazing I've been using them for this past week, and I love them. I will
You're so sweet.
continue to buy them. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing these products with the world because we do need more feminine care products. We truly do. And it shouldn't be taboo to talk
Right.
about. And women shouldn't be ashamed to talk
Right.
about self care and hygiene. Because
Right.
hygiene, when you're hygienic, you can present in the world you in a better way because you're more confident. You
Right.
smell fresh, you look
Right.
fresh, and
Right.
you have that confidence to step into any room and know that, "Hey, I am here and I am showing up as me." And I love
Right.
it. So, thank you for sharing that.
Right. And everything that we create gets tested on our vaginas first. So if
Oh,
there's ever
good.
some sort of like issue or, we have a little essential oils that need to smell in a different way. I mean, I create a lot of base formulations first, and then we play
Mhm.
with our essential oils to work synergistically with it. So all of us take home products first and try them on ourselves before they even go out to our clients. Like we believe it
That's
takes a
good.
vagina to know a vagina. And a lot of these, companies in like these big box stores, I feel like are like created and ran by men and they just
Yes.
don't understand, I just feel like we're kind of sick of being thrown whatever is thrown at us. We just need
We
something that
are.
works and is safe for us and is beautiful at the same time.
Yes, and we need to be the pioneers of our own industries, right? We
Right.
can't how can we have men speaking on behalf of our vaginas?
I
That
can't.
doesn't even make sense. You don't
Mm.
even know what it feels like to have one, sir.
Right.
Well, how
You
can
can't
you
even
tell me
name
how
the
to clean it?
parts. Right.
Exactly. So
Right. Right.
I just don't understand, but I just love that you are breaking barriers in your
Yeah.
industry and
Thank you.
you're bringing other professionals along the way. And I just respect you so much. I have
Thank
a
you.
few more questions for you. What has been the biggest challenge in running your skincare line?
So I feel like as a small business owner who is creating a skincare line from scratch, everything's kind of a challenge, right? So
Right.
I went into this, I didn't know how to source products. I didn't know how to source raw material. Like
Mhm.
everything you don't think of, right? Like you buy a jar, but now you have to buy a liner, and now you have to buy a lid that fits it. Like all these little things you don't think about is definitely a challenge. I remember we had this initial packaging that I had bought off of Amazon. I mean,
Oh,
our labels were like return labels. Like I Googled FDA, what had to be on a cosmetic label, or
mhm.
like address labels, like just something to get them out there initially to sell and then kind of tweak on our. So last year we decided to go ahead and do like our complete rebranding because we wanted it just to be a little bit more beautiful. We had some challenges again with the packaging and it was really hard for me to find packaging. So I just started like deep diving into Google and I found a packaging show. I was in New York, so I just flew to New York for a few days, and I was side by side with like Procter and Gamble, L'Oreal, like all the big $1 million companies in this show. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna buy a ticket. It doesn't say like these people can go and these people can't. Nicole Lancaster of Line Women Small Business is gonna go, and I'm gonna show up,
Yes.
and I'm gonna get information where I need to and make connections where I need to. And it ended up being really great for us. We ended up being able to find people to source our packaging. I was able to find people who can do our labels. Now I create the labels and they print the labels. So everything along the way, I feel like is actually a challenge because it's all
Right.
brand new to me. I don't
Right.
have a background in manufacturing and
Mhm.
formulating, but we figure it out as we go. And that's what I like to tell other entrepreneurs is that like you don't stop. Like
Yes.
sometimes it feels super hard.
Right.
I remember a couple months ago, I like sat in the reception area and just cried. At this point, I can't even tell you why I cried, but it was probably something was really hard and
Yep.
overwhelming. And then I got up and I looked around, I looked in this beautiful space that I created, and I was like, "You're a bad
Yeah.
bitch. Like, wipe your tears
Yes.
away. We're gonna figure
Gratitude.
this out." Right.
Yeah.
You've got this. And again, like I can't remember why I was crying then, but
Yeah.
I was crying, So I
Right.
just like to remind people, like, don't stop. And that's where I feel like I've seen people fail in like their own
Yeah.
businesses is you just keep going, even if it's like little by little, even if you have $50 to invest back into
Mm.
yourself, even if you feel like you have no money, you're stuck financially, like just keep going, find a way because there always is a way. And that's kind of like our
Yes.
mantra is that we always find a way and the money's always there because
Yes.
somehow it just always ends up working out. Again, everything feels challenging, but somehow we
Mhm.
just figured out we Google, right? We've built our own websites, we've created our own labels, and we've just Googled how to do it. It might take us time, it might be slower
Wow.
than others, but we just figured out as we go.
You know, I have this saying, and I've been telling myself this: if you sit in the problem long enough, you will find a solution. And there'll be times where
Love
you're
that.
sitting in the problem, crying. You don't know why you cried. It probably
Right,
could have been you were late for something, but it triggered another thought that you had that just took you down
right,
this trail, right? And
right,
as you're sitting in your thoughts and not focusing on it as a problem, but actually knowing that the problem exists and staying present
right,
and finding a solution, not being a victim to that problem, but finding a
right,
solution, you are probably by far the most creative when you're unblocked. And you have
right,
to stabilize yourself at times. And I have found myself crying for no reason as well because this entrepreneurial
right.
journey is not for the faint of heart. And it
No,
will be
ma'am.
times where you want to give up. I have wanted to give
Right,
up so many times over the years, and I just know
right,
that my I'm smaller than my mission, right? There is a bigger goal. I am to help many people in this world, and many entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs for that same reason. We're here to impact
right,
other people. It's This is not
right,
for the service of us. We're serving
right.
others, and we have to remember that, we can't give up on others, and we surely can't give up on ourselves. And we have to always
Right.
remember that. So I
And
love that.
when I think to like, what else would I do? Right. When it gets really
Mhm.
hard, I'm like, what else would I do? And it comes back to absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It comes back to there's nothing that you would enjoy. I can't work for someone, especially
Oh
not
God,
now after
no.
working for
After
myself,
working for
but
yourself,
I couldn't.
no one can tell you what
No,
to do. You're
ma'am.
not delegating anything to me. I'm no.
Listen, they had a hard time at first, and now that I'm working for myself, absolutely not, right? So
No.
it always comes back to V-line, like, you can do V-line. So you're like, "Okay, well, we figure it out. Little by little, we figure it out." Sometimes it's harder than others, but it always finds a way, it always figures itself out, and we just become a little more successful each time.
Yes. And I love your mindset and your confidence. The fact that you went to a conference that you knew were meant for larger brands, and you said, I'm going to be
Right,
in that room, and who's going to
right,
stop you from going? And it only takes
right,
just that one thought, the confidence to know that
right,
I deserve to be in that room just as those other people do. And
right,
you stayed in that room and stayed the course and found a product packaging for your business because you didn't let fear paralyze
right.
you. You know, there's a lot of people
Now
that
I can't
let
tell you
fear
that
paralyze them. Go
I
ahead.
have not always been that brave, right? And
There.
I have realized, I mean, when I was little, I used to be so scared to ask for something. And I try to tell my daughter this, like, you have to ask. I'd be terrified. I
Mhm.
didn't want to hear the word no. And again, for me, no isn't final. No, for a
It's
lot of
not.
people is final. No, for me is not. I'm like, okay, you'll change your mind. Like when I took a personality quiz, I
That's
was high in
true.
persuasion. I'm like, I'm going to get
Yes.
something else or I'm going to get it from somewhere else, Like, no is not final for me.
No.
So yeah, even like with that show, I wasn't always that brave, and sometimes it would have created a lot of social anxiety, just even
Mhm.
showing up, like, oh my God, like that imposter
Right.
syndrome. Like,
Yep.
they're gonna know
It
I'm a small
happens.
business. They're gonna know I'm not big. And I was like, screw that. It's set for everyone, right? Giving
Mhm.
out houses for everyone. I registered my assistant at the time.
Mhm.
Like, we're showing up. Like, they're not going to kick us out. There's nothing they can do. We'll be there rubbing shoulders and it's going to work. And
Yes.
if the $1 million companies are there, then I want to be there too, because clearly
Right.
they're doing something right?
Yes, absolutely. Let's talk about imposter syndrome because that is a part of a challenge in business. We
Yeah.
often become, the book, The Mountain is You. We really get in our own way. And we have to often remind ourselves of who we are. So
Yeah.
how do you deal with imposter syndrome?
I think because I'm so busy all the time, right? Like, I'm a
Mhm.
single mom, I own a couple businesses. Sometimes I actually forget to stop and look around and
Right.
just be grateful and be like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you created this. So when
Right.
I got pregnant with my daughter in 2016, I actually quit a job where I was managing a spa to open my own business.
Mhm.
I made
Mhm.
$15,000 that year, like 1 5. Like, that's poverty. I was almost making six figures at like, my mid 20s, and I went
Right.
down to like nothing, right? I was living with my mom, which was a blessing. Living with your mom with a baby is amazing because they take care of your baby. But so here I am, like the single mom starting my business. And to be there to like where I am now, like sometimes I just forget to like take a moment and be like,
Mhm.
wow, like this is what you've created, because
Mhm.
sometimes your struggles are what you focus on, which is
Yes.
a bad thing to do, because then that's what grows, because that's where your energy and attention is
Mhm.
at. Sometimes just to take a moment and I just like stand still in my spaces or in my lab and I just breathe and I like look at my products and I'm like, damn, girl, like
Yeah.
you've done this. You've hired people to help you do this. And you've like set these wheels in motion to create what you want to create for like not only you, but your friends, other women, other professionals. And sometimes, I'll be in a room with other estheticians and they'll ask me questions about like, oh, your success. And like, as an imposter syndrome, sometimes you don't feel successful. And I'm like,
Yes, that is so
yeah,
true.
I'm successful? Or like we just did our first professional show after COVID and I educated. And I was educating on vajacials, which are vagina facials, which women get
Mhm.
if they have ingrown hairs, dark spots.
Okay.
So I was educating. I had a room for 45 people. And I was like, you know what? I'm the only one in this space. I'm educating. If people show up, they show up. If not, it's
Mhm.
gonna be me in my room for 45 minutes, right? So I'm sitting there waiting for people to come and the room gets kind of full and it's time for it to start. I'm like, okay, let's close the doors. We ended up having to open the doors. We ended up being standing room only. Men and women, there had to be at least 100 in this 45 seat room. We're on the
Wow.
sides, in the back. People had like their head poking like through the doors. My
Right.
mom was poking her head in the back to see me. And at that moment, I was just like, wow, like this is a brand I created. This is my little product from my little kitchen that I created. And here's 100 plus professionals wanting to learn about my brand and my product and
Yeah.
wanting to hear what I have to say. And people coming up and like thanking me for my presentation. I had an OBGYN come up and thank me for like using the correct terminology. She was like, I was expecting to get up and be horrified and walk out of your room because you were going to tell women to like put something up their vaginas. She was like, so the fact that I stayed, she's like, I was so impressed. But like moments like that
Oh,
kind of bring me back to like, wow, like what I'm creating is amazing and important, and there's a need
right.
for it, and women are appreciating having it. And those moments like that kind of light me up and remind me, like, you're not an imposter. And when I have those
Yeah.
moments, like I said, I kind of just push through it. I'm like, well, shit, if you are an imposter, I'm going to make you do this anyways. I'm going to make you show up
Right.
at shows anyways. I'm
Have to
going to make
push
you get a booth
past
at a show
through it.
anyways. Yeah. I'm
Yes.
like, come on, girl, we've got this. We're going to pretend you're
No.
not an imposter for today?
It's so funny because you're like, "Come on, girl, you got this." You often have to talk to yourself like that. You have to
Right.
say, "Girl,
Right.
do you know who you are? Do you know what you have
Right.
accomplished?" And
Right.
I love that you sat in gratitude, right? And said, "You know what? Look at everything around me. I created this. Had it not been for the idea that I had and the seeds that I sowed, none of this would have been here. And without
Right.
you, the visionary, then none of it would exist, right? And
Right.
even in the setting with the conference, I love that sometimes we're always on go, right? And we're in work mode. To us, speaking, us talking about things that we love, that's work. That's normal for us. But it's not
Right.
normal for other people. And we have to remember, hey, this is someone's watching us and someone's at phase 1 in their journey, and they're seeing you at maybe phase 10 because you in your head, you're at phase 10, but you're still thinking you're at phase 1, right?
Right.
Because you wanna
Right.
be at phase 50. And
Right.
we take, I guess, advantage of the journey and the growth that we have had in this time, and we kinda play ourselves. We diminish our efforts in a way because it's normal for us. It is just our normal way of being, and it's not a normal way of being for many people. And we have to sometimes
Right.
remind ourselves, girl, do you know who you are? Do you know what you have
Right.
created? We can
And
do
what you're
this. We
capable
did
of.
it. Yes,
Right.
I love
Right.
that. And it's so
And
necessary.
everybody's capable of it. Like, I
We
came
all
from
are.
nothing, right? I
Mhm.
I lived in Land O'Lakes in my when I until, like, 3rd or 4th grade in a trailer on a dirt road. I remember growing up poor. Like, I came
Mhm.
from nothing, and I have just over the years scrounged and found a way to make whatever I want to happen. Have had people tell me, "You should just close your business." It wasn't making a ton of money, like, in the very beginning, or, "How are
What?
you gonna afford this space?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna figure it out." Like, it's
Faith.
happening, and I'm gonna figure it out, and that's kind of been my
Yes,
thing, like, I make it happen, and I'm like, "Okay, now I gotta figure out," Just
and
you
you
gotta just kinda keep
do.
pushing yourself because everyone's worthy and capable of it. You just have to
Mhm.
realize that for yourself and keep pushing for it.
And even in those moments where you feel like you can't figure it out, oftentimes you have to sit just a little bit longer to know I figured it out before I can
Right.
do it again. What's stopping me from
Right.
figuring out now, right? You just
Right.
have to remember the journey. It is a journey because some days you will be in your lobby crying. It's no one's
Right.
business while we're crying, right? But
I'm like, "Thank God there's not a camera in here."
you just have to release sometimes because we do
Right.
carry a lot of weight on our backs. And I enjoy these conversations with other entrepreneurs because I know that I'm not on an island alone. The feelings and the thoughts
Yep.
that I have are you share them as well. And that's what
Right.
makes us human. And people
Right.
often put entrepreneurs on these pedestals because what they see is the success, but they don't
Right.
see the mindset shifts that we have, the constant
Right.
check-ins that we have to give ourselves to keep on pushing ourselves to the next phase because it will break you if you let it. But
Right.
you have to plow through. And a lot of people don't have that
Right.
fortitude, and you need it in entrepreneurship. So
Right.
I just love these conversations because it just speaks to my heart. 'Cause I know I'm not alone.
Right.
I'm not going
No.
crazy.
On that island, like, 200 feet away from you, we just
Right?
we have each other. We're fine.
And I'll call
We're
my
surviving, girl.
friends.
That's all we need to do is survive.
Right. I'm like, "This has been a week, okay? I just wanna sit on my
Right.
couch and sleep." But no, we have
Right.
things to
Which
do.
is self-care. Which
It
is
really is.
self-care.
You have to also
Right.
classify what self-care looks like to you, because
Right.
if sitting
Right.
on the couch is what you like to do, sit on the couch because that is your
Listen,
release.
there are days where I don't wanna be touched or talked to.
Same.
As an esthetician, it's like overload sometimes, right? And then I have a
Yes.
6-year-old who's like a baby manatee. She's like wheels on top of me. So some days, those moments of just like nothing and stillness and quiet, I'm like, this is amazing. And sometimes as people, we're like, oh, it's lazy. I had to like
No.
untrain my brain to think
Yes.
that I don't have to be like manic and doing something 24/7. I'm like
Mhm.
full calm. Like you can clean that in a moment. You can do that work tomorrow. Like, but take care of yourself. And sometimes I think, especially in our society, I think we always just go. Sometimes we
Yeah,
forget that moment of take care of yourself, however that looks for you.
that's true. And you know, another thing that I think that we as entrepreneur now in our era, I'll say this, our parents come from a different era. They come from that era where it's always on go, working,
Right.
clock in, come home, cook food, rear the children. There's not this, freedom of time that they've ever experienced. And I know that
Right.
in my experience, my parents think that because I'm an entrepreneur, that I have this free time. And if I'm sitting on the couch, they think that I have free time for them. I don't have free time for them. I have free time for me, my self-care
Right.
time. And
Right.
when you said lazy, I kinda got triggered because, you know, our parents, mine will say, "You're so lazy, you just sit on the couch."
Yeah.
I've been working. My mind has been on go for 24 hours in this day. If I wanna sit on my
You
couch.
just added 20 minutes.
Right. So we have to also remember that you can't let your family or anyone in your circle
Right.
make you feel guilty for resting. Because you don't have to always
Mhm.
be on go 24/7 because that's not how you
Right.
create. It's it will
No.
block you and make you sick too,
Right.
mentally and
Right.
physically. So
Right.
let's talk about scaling V line. How are you intending to scale your product line? What are your goals on that?
So last year we launched, I think it was 4 new products.
Oh,
2 I did have contract manufactured the wash and we have a vagina mat because those were just something that was a lot easier for somebody else to have done for me. So those I did have done. But then we also launched a balm and an ingrown oil, which are our new like MVPs. Those products are amazing. And I think to go ahead and scale, I think that eventually, I wanna do some sort of, like, CBD lines to help with, like,
okay.
PMS or periods, take
Oh,
away
yeah.
pain relief. I do wanna do, like, a refreshing spray. I wanna be able to have a few more products added to it, but I think that I've really got this amazing team. I've shifted, I've reorganized my businesses. So one of the people who was the manager for my spa is now managing some of the beeline stuff.
Oh,
And
good.
we are all like on the same page as far as like our vision, our look, our branding. And I think that's really important. I think that people get scared sometimes to hire because payroll's our biggest expense,
Yeah, it is.
and sometimes it is. Sometimes it's challenging and you're like, you know, I got a lot of people to pay now, but
Yeah,
the better person if you hire like an A player, they're not going to cost you money because they're bringing people in. So
right.
now I have people working on like my professional side and my consumer side, and they're really helping to grow and be consistent with marketing and reaching out to clients and branding that it really has increased our sales and help us. So I think as far as scaling that way, I'm proud of our team and I'm proud that like I
Wow.
have women who believe in my brand so wholeheartedly um, to help me scale in those aspects. And then scaling for V-Line, eventually we just want to have our own big manufacturing facility here in Tampa. I'm a Tampa girl, born and raised. So
Yes,
I would
me
love to like
too.
have my own spot. Oh,
Yes,
neighbors. There's that many
yes,
of us.
Tampa native. Yes, born and
Yeah,
raised.
I'd love to have my own facility. Yeah.
Yeah, my heart does it belongs in Tampa,
Right.
I moved away from Tampa for 10 years, and I had
Wow.
people when I was in North Carolina for law school, I had people trying to talk me out of coming home. I'm like, "No, this is my
It is
city."
green all year round.
Yes,
Right. Exactly.
I was born and raised here. I not come back. I wasn't supposed to go for too long. I knew where my home was, and it is Tampa.
Right.
So,
Right.
absolutely, and I love that you are making sure that you give back and stay very active within your community, and that is so necessary because there are Tampa natives that often don't do that. They forget about the heart of the city, right? And
Yeah.
the city is all about community at the end of the day. And
Right.
you feed into that. You are all about community. And I love that. I really do. So, how do you stay ahead of trends in the beauty industry?
So I feel like beeline is kind of a niche, which it is. Skincare is one of the fastest growing segments of skincare in the beauty industry. With that being said, it's still kind of like the Wild West. So we have a lot of our pros that are doing intimate skincare services, but they're using skincare for the face, on the vulva, on the vagina, which is totally different skin, right? It's
Mhm.
thinner, it's more reactive, it has more blood vessels. So there really isn't a set protocol for them in order to perform these services. A lot of pros obviously are very educated, very smart. They know their
Right.
clients, they know what they can and cannot do, and they trust their intuition and it works out great. Some whose skill set is not quite at that level, it
Mm.
doesn't work out as great as it does.
Right.
So we just like to be able to have the opportunity for our professionals, for our clients. I don't believe there's any other brand on the market that actually formulates for Va vaginas, vulvas,
Mm.
kind of more of like, well, this is for the pubic area, but you can use it all over. It's for men, it's for women. When I formulate, I research ingredients that are good for us, right? So, like our ingredient oil has jojoba, which is a cleaning oil. A lot of other brands use just a little bit lower quality of an oil. I also like to use primrose, which helps to
Mhm.
regulate your hormones, helps with menstrual cramping. I use rose hip, which is a natural retinol, so it helps to stimulate collagen, it helps to lighten pigment. I like to use tea tree, to help killing bacteria and growing hairs. Everything is very intentional and
Yes.
formulated for your vagina. Again, you can use it anywhere, but I think with our brand, the way that we're kind of leading the trend is
Mhm.
it's specifically formulated for your vagina and
Mhm.
then just play with it from there. But we're just very intentional when it comes to our ingredients. Even our wash, it's a shea butter wash. It promotes a healthy pH. There's no fragrance in it. It's just rose oil. So all of our products are fragrance free except for one scrub, and that's because it's a rinse off scrub. All of our products that stay on your body are manufactured and packaged in glass. So you're not having to worry about your product being in plastic and the heat and then getting put onto your skin, absorbed into your body. So everything, just like I said, it's very intentional for your vagina, your reproductive organs, your vulva, and for your intimate services, for your clients as well. We just want to be able to create, safe, healthy products. And I think that's kind of how we're staying in the forefront of this niche of intimate skincare.
I love that because you said it's with intention, right? So each ingredient you had an intention aligned to it, right? Most
Right,
often people will say, I just like shea butter because it makes your skin feel soft, not because
right,
you've done the extra step in terms of research and how, other than the effect on the skin, how it can benefit the vagina. And
right,
I just love
right,
that you're very intentional about making sure that the products and the ingredients in the products are actually working with one another and working with a purpose and not just to make your
right.
skin feel good. Because you said the
And when I
jojoba oil is the cleansing one. So I'm also feeling
right,
cleansed and moisturized at the same time. That's very
right,
nuanced, and not many people sit and focus on those small elements of a business. And you did
right.
that. That's
Thank you.
beautiful.
Yeah, when I first started formulating, I found my OBGYN on Facebook, and it
Oh,
was
really?
this man who delivered me. He was an OBGYN for like 50 years. And so I sent him a
Wow.
message and I was like, hey, can I have 10 minutes of your time? I want to start this brand. I want to start this product. So we were going back and forth on what you should use, what shouldn't you use. I'm like, look, I'm even like some of our products have coconut oil, but it's raw, virgin, cold pressed coconut oil. So there's no heat introduced into that product. So it keeps
Mhm.
all the good stuff. It's not fractionated, it's not bleached, it's not taken away. But then all of our products absorb into the skin like a dried oil. So you're not greasy. And you really don't understand what you're missing until you use it. You don't think
Yeah.
about your clothes rubbing on your skin. You
Right.
don't think
Right.
cotton dehydrating your skin, causing
Right.
more dark skin, more hyperpigmentation, irritation. You
Mhm.
don't think about any of that. So yeah, we take a lot of pride in the research that we've done. Even with the oil, I ordered a ton of small mini oils, raw material, and I printed off information sheets for each of them. And everyone, I tested on my skin, I smelt it, I saw the absorption rates, I looked at the benefits of using it, on your vulva. And, a lot of them didn't pass. And we ended up with jojoba, which was the best one. And then just the blends of the other oils. We even have starfruit oil in there, which has a lot of antioxidants and it's light and it feels good and it smells good. So we definitely take our time when it comes to creating our products and seeing which one we like the best and which ones we think our clients will like the best as well. But we're very proud, especially of that new ingrown oil. We're very proud of that product.
And I have that oil. I
Yeah.
have been using
We
it
even
probably
like
every day at this point.
So we have clients who use it like after 'cause you have a little bit on your hands, right? So you can spot
Mhm.
treat that one if you have ingrown hairs, if you have hyperpigmentation, you can use it all over. If you have any type of pubic hair, it helps soften hair, skin.
Okay.
You can even use it on your cuticles. Like whenever I have some left, I use it on my cuticles. And I even use it pre-shower. So I'll put a little on like my underarms because I feel like it helps my deodorant stay a little better. So pre-shower, I'll put a little under my underarms. I hop in the shower, I shower, and then I come out and put my deodorant on. But yeah, there's lots of fun use. We've had men use that on their beards, but that's definitely one of our newer products that we're very proud of.
I really do enjoy that product. I think that I wonder if it's because you have the heart. It's the heart in how you're producing this that it just flows into the quality of the product because you can
Oh, that's so sweet.
tell
Thank you.
you really can tell that you put your all into this product. And I love that you have gone through the formulation and tested every oil and, weeded out the products that just won't work for you and any other skin type. And it shows that you've
Right.
taken the time and the care to produce
Right.
this product. It's not sloppy. It's done in a very intentional way, and I respect that, and I love that. I love your story and how you produce your I'm in awe
You're so sweet.
of how
I'm in
you
awe of you.
developed. No, your journey is amazing. How Let's get back to how long have you had your product line in production? It's not been that
So
long, right? About 5
so
years, right?
so we 2019.
Okay.
I'm like, what year is it?
Well, yeah, we've missed
So
a couple of years.
2019.
We did meet in 2019, right? Just
Right.
forget.
Right. Exactly. So 2019, we registered the business in like July, right?
Mm.
And that's after like months of like having products, forming a house, whatever. We decided like 6 weeks before professional show, I'm like, let's do this pro show and just see how it goes. Again, all these professionals are here, all these big $1 million skincare companies. I'm
I
like,
do
listen, if they
recall that.
let me pay,
Did you tell me about this on our consultation, I believe?
yes,
Yes, I do remember this
yes,
now. Yes, okay. I'm so
yes.
sorry for interrupting.
So it's okay. Same thing though. I'm like, listen, if they let me pay 2 grand and they give me a 10 by 10 spot, I'm
Right,
going, right? They can't tell me
right.
no. I know I'm $1 million big name. I'm a teeny
Mhm.
tiny name, but I'm going, right?
For
So we
now.
did that for 6 weeks. Exactly. And in that time, I think I'd taken one of your webinars through the Women's Business Center on trademark. And I was like, so my name is V line, which is
Mhm,
vagina line, which is very
mhm,
easy. And I was going to the show, and my fear was
mm,
that if I went to the show and these large companies saw our name, they have the capital, they have the lawyers, they have everyone who could easily trademark it, right? Or easily
mm,
take it, or easily take our idea. Maybe they haven't thought of this before. Maybe it's something that'll spark something in them. I just didn't know.
mm.
Um, so I think I reached out to you, and I think you filed my mark in September, which protected us for October. So
Mm.
we've been in business, yeah, since like 2019. Yeah, no, we just finally got our mark. I'm probably the longest client you've ever had to fight
No,
for.
no,
Really?
no. The
I was
USPTO
like, it
is
took us what,
no.
3 years?
I've had longer. It's the USPTO has been very delayed in processing. these trademarks,
Yeah.
but there are other, circumstances that will delay the mark. And you've experienced that, that, there are elements that are out of all of our control. And I do remember
Yeah.
our initial consultation because I remember the fear that you shared with me because said, I'm going here with all of these big names that I do not want to expose my brand
Right.
to any of them because you're right. They do have a lot more resources than you at that time, right? But
Right.
what I loved about your mindset was you were very proactive. There's a lot of people that will protect their trademark when they know that someone else has the name or
Mhm.
when someone has taken their name, they're trying to now fight it. I call it the jealous boyfriend syndrome. They get jealous when someone's taken their name when they should have just trademarked it at the very beginning of the process.
Right.
And you did it at
Right.
the very beginning when you had your name in your mind and you developed, started developing these products. You called me first. No, you didn't call me. First, you educated yourself. Let's start there. You educated yourself. You did the webinars. You learned the need to have a trademark. You learned the difference between a trademark and a copyright. And you
Right.
came to the consultation. I remember this. I know exactly where I was sitting. I know who was on the phone. I remember I did not have to explain much about trademark law to you because you had the understanding. You were just saying, okay, what's the price? Let's get to it.
Right.
Because I already know that I need a trademark. I want a trademark. Just tell me what's our next step. Let's get to how to get this process started. And I love having clients like you because you come in and you know what you want and you're firm
Yeah.
and you are firm in knowing what you want and you don't give up.
Right.
I admire you, the faith that you have in your brand.
Yeah.
You are the reason
Well,
why you have
again,
your trademark, by the way. Your faith is the reason why.
well,
Yes, we wanted to give
and
up
also
a
your
few
advice.
times.
Also your advice.
Right,
Well,
but
here's
there
the
was
thing though.
times
I've
we
been in
wanted
this
to give up,
industry.
right? You
Yeah.
wanted to say, "You know what, Shauna, should we just step away from the process?" Because like you said, it was 3 years. And every
Yeah.
time we had the conversation, I much like a doctor, you give the pros and the cons of a situation, and you make an informed decision. And every
Yeah.
time you chose the right decision, you chose to stay steadfast in the journey, even if there are
Yeah.
hiccups along the way, and you never gave up. I
Yeah.
admire that.
So I've seen a lot of things happen, right? And I used to be, like I said, I haven't always been so brave and so
Mm.
firm. And I used to be like, sweep it under the rug. Like,
Mm.
oh, it may or may not happen. If it happened to happen, scared. Like it's almost
That's
like
fear.
fear that I
Yes,
wouldn't
that's
actually be proactive. So I've seen a lot of things happen. I've also gone through custody of my kids. So I learned how to
Mhm.
be on the offense instead of the defense,
Yes.
like one step ahead. Because if
Mhm.
not, then you're thrown off, then you're scrambling, then you're scared, then you don't know what to do. And then a lot of times it doesn't work out. So I just learned to be one step ahead for my own peace and to just kind of, know, okay, well, this is being taken care of. Well, I know what the journey. So we filed in October. I already had that trademark, My Line Organics. And then somebody had filed for that trademark a month before.
Yep.
So you would never think this many women would be using V-Line for intimate
Right.
skincare. I mean, I thought it was unique, but here we are, right?
Right.
And I remember there was communication at one point because it was a gynecologist who was selling intimate skincare to her clients. And I remember there was conversation at one point about coexisting. And I always go with my gut. And I told you I don't take no very well. So I was like, that just doesn't feel right. If we try to coexist and I try to pay this woman, like if this woman who filed a month before me has this trademark and I pay her, who's to say down the line she doesn't try to fight it? Who's to
Right.
say, you can't? And besides, I don't want it. I don't want two beelines. I'm just
Right.
very persistent in that way. And at that point, our time had already been, we were knee deep in time,
Yeah.
knee deep in money. And I was like, no, at this point, we're not going to walk away. It's just going to be a standoff, right? We're just going to
Yes,
see whoever lasts longer.
it was.
And we did. I guess the business ended up closing down her business.
Yeah.
And at that point, her lawyer was taking forever to get back with
Mhm.
you. And I was like, I just want this mark. Like it was like a year, I think.
It
I think it's
was.
been a year since her business had closed and you
Mm,
initially had contacted him about canceling his application. Like, it was a long time, and I remember I didn't understand it, right? So I'm like, "What does that mean, Shauna? Should
mhm.
we walk away? What does that mean?" And I do. I remember you giving me options, and I was like, "Well, no, at this point, screw it. We're already in it. Like, let's
Right,
just see who can stand the longest," And it worked out for us, and just glad
right.
we were persistent. Again, you can't tell me no. I'm gonna keep going
Mhm.
until one of us is exhausted and gives up.
Yes, and I'll tell you this, the moment I got the email that it says USPTO registered V-line women, I said, "Oh my god." I stopped everything and called you. You were in with a
So
client,
funny.
so but I was
Yeah.
so excited for you. I said, "We did it. We got your trademark." And I made sure I do apologize. I'm gonna go on air and say, I am so sorry that I could not meet you the week prior to deliver your
So
trademark
funny.
certificate because
I was
I
like,
wanted
"Mail
to
it."
meet you. I'm like, "No, I don't
Yeah,
wanna mail
right,
it. I wanna meet her," because
right.
I don't often get to meet my clients because it's trademark. So a lot of my clients are over in a different state or a different city. So I love that you're a Tampa native and I could just drive down the street and deliver your
Yeah,
box to you and actually meet you in person because we've been on this journey together. And
yeah.
it's because of your faith that we've got this far because you said no, we're going to keep pushing. And as your attorney, I'm going to do what you need me to do to keep pushing and get the trademark, and we did it. We successfully got your mark registered, and I am so happy for you.
I'm a hard sell, right? I can be a little hard at times and hard to work with at times because if I don't trust you, and again, I always go with my gut, and if
Mm,
telling me sounds like you're running around in circles, or if you can't just make sense for me, like, just break it down real dumb for
yeah.
me so I can understand the basics of how it's going to go and the consequences.
Mhm.
So, obviously, lawyers have to go through a lot of education, but I've worked with a few lawyers, and I don't always think that they're smart. I don't always
There are a
think
few
that
that are not,
they
I'll tell you that.
I mean, it's like they became lawyers, but they don't, like, then understand the laws, or they don't, use the laws or memorize the law. Like, they're not really smart, right? I mean, we even saw that with the other lawyer in his filing. You were like, "He must be new."
Yeah.
Where you are a very smart woman. So
Thank
every question I asked, you weren't like, "I'm not sure, let me get back to you." You were like, "Well, no, so the USPTO does this,
you.
and it could go this way." And I'd say, "Okay, well, what if we do it the other way?" "Okay, well, if we do it this," like you're a very smart woman,
Thank
and you know your specialties. So anytime I had a question or concern, you were able to articulate your answer and articulate how it could go in different ways, which made me very comfortable. And I was like, okay, this woman is obviously very smart. She knows her niche. She knows her law. She's chosen to do trademark and business and she knows it. And it really earned my trust because, like I said, a lot of times,
thank you.
your lawyers take forever to get back to you and then you ask questions and they're like, oh, I don't know. We'll get back to you in a week. And you're like, "Oh," it's like running around in circles. But you were
Mhm.
just a very smart woman. Every time I needed to call you, you called me. And I just appreciate like you taking me through this. It was, even
Right.
though it took 3 years, it was very seamless and easy, it felt.
And I have a heart for entrepreneurs, and I just wanna see everyone succeed and to see, start this journey from an idea and for it to grow into what you've developed and for me to see it firsthand.
Yeah.
I just want to tell which is why I'm like, I got to get you on the podcast, tell everyone how you just grown in such a short time and you've built a brand that is now going to be a household name. We're claiming that because it will
We're
be in
claiming
stores.
it, yes.
It's gonna be in stores, and
Yes.
you're going to be that woman, the leader in your industry.
Right.
Your journey in entrepreneurship is so inspiring to me. I want other people to hear it and learn that it takes baby steps and sowing seeds to develop what you've built. And if this is just
Yeah.
the tipping point, this is just beginning. You have a longer journey to experience because you're going to expand. I see it. And you have the
Yeah.
protection and no longer the fear behind that. Now you can step into rooms much like the trade show that you were going to at the beginning of your journey and know that you have exclusive use to your brand name. And
Yeah.
if anyone dares to take it,
I can't wait. I can't
I
wait.
can't wait. Just try me. Try me.
I can't wait. Try me. Hey, Shawnette.
Let's
You're
talk
gonna
about
see it in a
that.
calendar pop up. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
On
calendar pop
that.
up Friday at 2.
Right. And
Cease and desist.
I am with it. I am down for
Right.
I am
Right.
with it, okay? I'm all about protecting my
I'm gonna
clients'
need a letter.
assets, okay? So, we don't play
Yeah.
about my clients over here. So, one last thing, how do you feel that trademark registration I said it, it gives you the
Yeah.
confidence, right, to go into
Yeah.
rooms, but other than that confidence, what else has having this trademark registration done for you?
When you left the spa, I actually went home and got like a bottle of champagne and brought it back. And I told one of my girls, I was like, "Hey, meet me at the spa." We got champagne. And one of my clients came in and I was like, "Do you want your lashes or do you want champagne?" And she's like, "Champagne." I'm like, "All right, we'll do your lashes next week. We'll
Right.
see you next week." It's surreal, right? I have amazing parents, like unconditional love.
Yes.
But when I was growing up, it wasn't like education wasn't really pushed. Like my dad had
Mhm.
to drop out of school at 15 because he was the oldest son to provide for his family. My
Mm.
dad is an amazing, successful man now, but when he was young, he was the man in the house because his dad had tuberculosis and was in the hospital for 2 years. He had to provide for his family the way he knew. My mom went to like a career school and she does billing and stuff. And now, again, now they're very successful now, but growing up, they were not. And they didn't push the education route, which I feel like when we were younger, that was like the only way you were told that you could make money.
Mhm.
When I was young, I always knew I wanted to be a makeup artist, or I always knew I wanted to do something in beauty. And I never really was like, I'm going to college. Like that wasn't my thing. I
Yeah.
was like, no, I'm gonna like do makeup. Like that was my
Don't
thing.
collect debt
So I've
that you
always like
don't
kind
need.
of like, right. I'm like, I'm gonna live my purpose, right? I spent a year in aesthetic school, which is not a year anymore. But to be 36 and to come from that background, right? To come from not having a degree, to come from just working my ass off, to come from essentially growing from nothing and to be 36 and hold a trademark, it's just astounding. Like it's mind blowing that I have it. Like I have something in my hands. And it is protection for my brand, something that I work tirelessly day in and day out. Like sometimes again, I have to remind myself, like, take a break. My poor daughter's
Mhm.
like, "Mommy, you work so much." I'm like, "I know, baby. And I have to like get better at like making that like the balance, right?
Right.
But sometimes I'm like, it just has to get done. But to now know that's protected and all these years, all that hard work is
Right.
now protected and someone can't take that away from me,
Yes.
and it's just it's surreal.
And it's
It's
just a
surreal.
level of security that I don't know if you can get from anywhere else. Just knowing
Right.
that literally no one can take your brand from you. And now you
No.
can exclusively profit financially from it and
Right.
license it to other people when necessary and still have that autonomy over how
Yeah.
it's going to appear in the world. It's you can't pay money for that feeling, because no one can literally
Yeah.
take it away from you. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and
I have a
I've
trademark coming,
seen
and I feel it. It's coming. The security, you know?
I've yeah, I've been online and I've seen like similar at one point we had bath bombs and somebody had sent
Mm.
me a bath bomb. They're like, "Look, it says V bomb." And it was like similar looking to ours. And I was like, now nobody can do that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Now people can't create confusion in
Yep.
my industry. And now, like, just having that, I mean, I just feel like top dog. I'm like,
Yeah, it's
don't try
like so
me.
you're looking like, "Okay, so
I
let me make sure that this V doesn't
hashtag me
encroach
line.
on my brand because I will send a cease
Right.
and desist."
Right. Absolutely. And get your letterhead ready.
Yes. Yes. I
Get ready
love
to
it.
ship it.
The protection, the confidence of it all. I just love
Mhm.
it. Okay, so let's wrap this up. What is one
Sure.
thing that you would like to share with the audience about your journey in entrepreneurship?
I would say the biggest thing that I take away from entrepreneurship is mindset. Again, it's challenging, like a lot of different roads. It's challenging.
Yeah.
I have created a business that's now over six figures and from 15,000, from
Mhm.
poverty. I've created something really
Mhm.
beautiful. And it was just the persistence. It was learning as I went. I mean, I can build websites, I can make them SEO, maximized. I can blog, like I can do all these things now because I invested time into myself and learning how to do it. So I would say it's just mindset. Whenever something feels hard or undoable, just remember to sit in that moment, like you said, and switch that mindset to I can do it. How? Let me write
Yeah.
down the steps or let me write down my goals and then let me figure out
Yeah.
how I'm going to achieve those goals. So I just take away every day I'm working my mindset. Every day I'm listening to a mindset podcast,
Mm.
reading mindset books. Like every day is something about mindset because your brain is something you really have to get control of and training your thoughts. So you're not just letting them wander off into something. Every day I'm working on it. So that's really one of my big, I would say, takeaways and suggestions to anyone interested in becoming an entrepreneur is that it has to be the mindset of I can do this. Because so many times you hear, I can't do this because I can't do this because
Yeah.
like we all have those friends that you like try
Yep.
to get that advice, like, well, what if you did it this way? And they're like,
Mm.
no. And then you're like, well, why
Mhm.
are you asking me?
Right.
If everything's a no and a dead end, why are we talking? Like, let's talk about something else?
Right.
So I think
You
in
don't
just
wanna
changing
hear
that
it.
mindset of I can't do it to how can I do it? And let
Yeah.
me figure it out. Let me find the steps really kind of just creates that successful entrepreneurship and just keeps you going 30 minutes a day on your business, even if it's your side hustle, turn it to your main hustle, 30 minutes a day. It keeps you going.
That is so true. And often, many people say you need to stay physically fit. We go to the gym a lot, right? We try to maintain our bodies. And here, what I've heard you
Who's
say
we?
well, me, girl, it's been a
Like,
journey.
wait, do you have a mouse in your pocket? Who's we?
Sweet.
I just told you I enjoy sitting alone, being not talked to with a glass of
Oh,
water.
she said, who going to the gym? You going to the gym, not me.
Hop into yoga every now and then.
I-
So
well,
funny.
we try to work on our physical health,
Thank you.
but most
Here we go.
often we neglect our mental health. And I love that
Right.
on a
Right.
daily basis, you train your brain to
Yes.
rethink in the most positive way. And it is very necessary to have that mindset of
Yes.
success, essentially
Yes.
solution based and success, knowing that you can do it. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Nichole Lancaster, for joining me.
Thank you so
I will
much.
have you on again. This will be an ongoing thing. So please tell them how can they reach you because they need to know who you are.
So our website is V like Victor, linewomen.com. All of our social handles are at V Line Women. So you can follow us on TikTok, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and then we do have a separate section for our pros. So any pros interested, you can go to our website, click on professionals, and all of our pro information is there. But those are the best ways to get a hold of us. Our email's info@melanwomen.com. But yeah, we're definitely all over the internet. Plenty of ways to get a hold of us.
Awesome. And I will put that in the show notes so that they can just easily click on
Perfect.
it and have access
Mhm.
to all of your products. Thank you again for joining me on today's episode of the Entrepreneurial Leap podcast. That is it
Thank
for
you.
now, guys. Have a good one.